Good evening. My name is Cassandra Panoff, and I'm going to be your co-host for this night. We're going to be taking back America with the man in the white hat, William Wagner.
Well, thank you, Cassandra. I must be William Wagner because I have the white hat on. Thank you very much for the intro. With us today, I'm very pleased to tell you we have two candidates for the 33rd State Assembly District with us in the studio, not on tape tonight, live in the studio. And I thank all of you that emailed in your questions. I appreciate that. And I want to introduce now Supervisor from San Luis Obispo County, California, Katcho Achadjian.
Close enough.
Thank you, sir. Forgive me.
Thank you for having me.
Say it correctly. So we
It's Katcho Achadjian.
Katcho Achadjian.
Very good.
All right. I apologize.
No need for apology.
You've been a supervisor in San Luis for how long, sir?
For almost 12 years. This is my 12th year.
Last time I saw you, you were trying to quiet down a ruckus at the Oceano Special Service District meeting, and people were really upset about money that went missing, and the general manager couldn't account for it or something. And you remember that mess?
I do. Those are stories we'll love to tell, but hate to remember.
It was a mess. I mean, you couldn't make anybody happy. But now you're running for the 33rd Assembly District. Tell me in 3 minutes why should they vote for you? I mean, there's 3 other Republican candidates. I think there's an independent and there's a Democrat. Why should they vote for Supervisor Katcho?
Fair question. First of all, I'm a Cal Poly graduate, have a degree in business administration. I've been self-employed for 32 years, meaning that I have hired people. I know what it takes to make ends meet. I have signed the front part of a payroll check. Plus, I have 12 years of experience within the government. And for the last 11 years, we have balanced our budget on a timely manner without adding any taxes. And when times were tough, we got tougher ourselves as members of Board of Supervisors. More so myself, I have never raised my own raises, given ourselves a raise, at least 99% of the time. And last year we came through and we took cuts prior to talking to our employees as why they should take cuts or they won't be receiving any raises. A lot of experience. My 32 years of business experience, 12 years of county as a member of the Board of Supervisors. The combination is a great experience to take with me to Sacramento. And I have suffered from taxes and regulations as a small business person. So I know what it feels and I know what it takes to make money, to bring back business to California like we used to have it, and enough is enough.
Let me ask you a question. That's what I'm here to do.
Very well.
You say you cut your own salaries before you cut the San Luis Obispo County employee salaries. What was your salary, and what year did you cut it, and what did you cut it back to?
This last year we take about 2.7% cut. The year before, which we didn't take any raises, collectively it was about 5%, which amounted to close to $4,000.
So you cut your own salary, $4,000.
Correct.
So what is the current salary of the San Luis Obispo County supervisors?
It's roughly about $80,000.
$80,000. That's not bad.
No, it's very good money.
Can I slip into your seat when you get elected?
You bet. You want to go through the trenches and be in a campaign, more power to you.
I think I've been there, done that. So I'll pass on that. I have some basic questions. Once you're into the State Assembly, you cannot be removed. I mean, Mike Warrington did a really good study on this, and he was on my show 2 years ago. Those 80 people, once they're in unless they're term limited out, unless they're caught running away with the president's wife, or they have to do something really horrendous before people put them out. Because I don't know why. Why is that? Why is that 80 people, once they're in there, why do you think people can't be removed?
Because mainly people have lost interest in our politics. Out of madness, they have turned their back on their politicians or elected officials. We need to stay on the top of the issues that are happening. We need to ask the questions, why is it where we are today, and whose fault it is? And we need to stay on the top of it, and every election time, we should work very hard to get rid of those who are not to our satisfaction and to keep those in office who work hard, who are committed for the job, and are satisfactory to our needs.
In the opening to the show tonight in Take Back America here, we had a scene at the Tea Party where I made a speech, and you saw in the CGIs, each one of you, there's about roughly, including the illegal aliens, probably 40 million humans living in the state of California, including Uncle Sam here and his granddaughter who's sitting next to him here in the studio. There's about 40 million Californians, only 8 assemblymen. Michael Warnken did some research and discovered that when the state was only about 4 or 5 years old, back in about 1855 or something, they increased the state assembly from 36 to 50 something and then to 80 2 years later because the population had exploded to 250,000. And it has stayed at 80 assemblymen for 150 years. They thought they needed 80 to represent 250,000. Supervisor Katcho, if you're elected, are you going to change that ratio, increase the membership of the assembly? Because according to the Federalist Papers, we're supposed to redistrict congressional districts 30,000 to 1 for each House member. Now we got assembly districts where each one of you represent 500,000. Is there any way you could possibly talk and listen to 500,000 people?
If you're willing, there is a possibility. If you work hard enough, you can reach out. And you don't have to listen per individual at all times, but collectively, you got to be able to listen for each individual's concern that might come forward or encourage them to bring forward. If we want to increase the number of assembly, we're just increasing the number of the size of our government. The more assembly folks you get in, the more staff comes in. And we don't want any bigger government than it is. What we got to do, we got to spend more time locally than we spend in Sacramento. We're elected and put in office to work for the folks who put us there, and we need to stay in touch with those rather than maintain our distance, spend more time in Sacramento than in our own backyard. If we spend more time in our backyard, we can do a better job listening to our folks, as I have done for almost 12 years now, listening to our population in county is almost 260,000 people.